Bare facts of the case. This murder happened after the Hero of Heroes Awards ceremony, sir. The victim, Yuan Kurita, was found dead in his hotel room. After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. Thank you. After the awards ceremony ended, the victim was alone in his room? Yes, sir. Both the victim and defendant went alone to their room, sir. I see. Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. Bare facts of the case, okay. This murder happened after the Heroes of Hero Award ceremony, sir. I have no issue with that, because it did. I think. Are we? I mean, we have the time of death via the autopsy report, do we not? Where do we? Wait, where's the autopsy? Where's the autopsy report? Do we have an autopsy? I know there was one. Or do we just find out that he got stabbed via other people? Huh. Okay, that's interesting. So no, I'm gonna press him then. Like, where's the details of this? Would you please give us a brief timeline of what happened after the ceremony? No, I want to know what happened before. Like, what was the time of death? Oh, sure, we got the autopsy report at some point. Okay, pal, the ceremony started at 6 p.m. It ended around 8 p.m. And then there was a short break. I mean, he was there during it. Maybe, again, in costume. Might not have been him. A special post-ceremony show was supposed to start in the lobby 30 minutes later. And that's when the victim's body was found, correct? Which is to say, the murder occurred during that 30-minute break period. Please continue with your testimony, detective. Alright. The victim, Yuan Kurita, was found dead in his hotel room. See, that I have no issue with. Because that's true as far as I know, so... After looking into the cause of death, we believe he was definitely murdered, sir. Again, I want more details on this thing, because I genuinely thought I had an autopsy report. The cause of death? Wasn't that because Mr. Kurita was stabbed in the chest? Only a careless amateur would believe something so brainless as that, pal. Take a good, hard look at the crime photo. Now, a real pro's attention would be drawn here to this bandana. Banana. His bandana, sir, that's not even the same word. That's the thing wrapped tightly around his neck, sir. Ah, yes, I too enjoy a banana. Wait, really? I see, his banana-scented bandana. Then what about the knife? Seems to have been stuck in the victim's chest on purpose after his death. We have a crafty murderer on our hands here. Hey! That's what I wanted. Okay, Yuan's autopsy report, time of death 8:15 p.m. Cause, strangled with a scarf, then stabbed with a knife. Yeah. Alright then, autopsy report added to the court record. Fantastic. At first, we thought there was something suspicious about the empty guitar case. Now I want more details about this guitar case, sir. And why did you think that? Because it was empty, pal. The Jammin' Ninja doesn't go anywhere without his bright red guitar. And we couldn't find it anywhere at the scene of the crime. Oh, and how about this theory? A fan really wanted the guitar and did the crime to get it. What's that? We thought of that too, but the only fingerprints on the guitar case were the victims. Only the victims, huh? I see. So much for my theory, then. At least you're coming up with theories. Guitar case updated in the court record. However, we later found out that the guitar case had nothing to do with the murder. How? What convinced you it had nothing to do with the case. I'm thinking like, wait, guitar case, murder, what? The guitar wasn't at the Gatewater Hotel that night. Well then, where was it? The bright red guitar was eventually found at the TV studio. The victim, Yuan Kurita, had apparently only taken the case with him, sir. So what was in the case? So you mean you forgot to put the guitar inside the case? No. Clearly put something in the case that wasn't the guitar, that's what I'm thinking now. Yes, sir. Even when he was on stage for the ceremony, he didn't have his guitar. So that guitar case was empty. Even before he got to the hotel. I don't believe that aspect. I don't believe the empty. I don't believe it had the guitar in it. But you could, like, why would he bring it otherwise? Why? There has to have been something in it. Yeah, that's right. So it really had nothing to do with the case after all. Yeah, sure. I believe that is enough. What? First, the victim was choked to death with his banana. But then, after the victim was dead, the killer deliberately stabbed him with a knife. Which brings me to my next point. Why then did the police arrest Matt on guard? Because there was reason enough to suspect him. Here it comes. Looks like Edgeworth's back in full swing. Very well. Detective Gumshoe, please testify about this matter. Yes, sir. Matt on guard and Yuan Kurita were huge rivals with each other. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. As for evidence, there's the Jamming Ninja's button. It was ripped off of the ninja costume, was found in Mr. Engard's hakama. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. So the defendant's fingerprints were found on the knife used in the stabbing. Sort of sticky on the handle, so the fingerprints came out pretty clearly, sir. Knife added to the court record. Like, Gatewater is engraved. Why is Gatewater being engraved significant enough for us to know that? And there's this button. That was found in the defendant's clothes. Was it? And is this button also covered in blood? Yes, and we know that the blood in it is the victim's blood, sir. What? Jamming Ninja's button added to the court record. Eeeeeesh. All of this points very clearly to the defendant, doesn't it? Yes, it most certainly does, Your Honor. Ready to give in yet, right? I'll find the hole in your argument somehow. You can press as hard as you'd like, just hurry up with your usual pointless questions. My arrest on guard, okay. Matt on guard and Yuan Kurita were huge rivals with each other. Yep, makes sense to me. They each thought the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. Wait just 1 second here. Mr. On guard was beating Mr. Kurita in the popularity polls. Well, yeah, I guess, but... Which means that in the defendant's eyes, the victim was not a rival at all. Which means he had no motive to kill at all. Oh, it doesn't make sense. I mean, why Nick Weichel? Yes, I quite agree. Well, detective? It's not, well... I guess if you put it that way, then yeah, the defendant would have no motive. Objection! Detective, I'm beginning to see why you were fired. Eh? No, not you two, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, that's... I look forward to your pension negotiations. No. Now, detective. Let's continue with the testimony. No, not my poor pension, too. Aw. Detective, if you value your money, I suggest you proceed. Yes, sir. I'll talk about my pension later, sir. What about what I was saying? Hello? Anyone? It's like literally like, yeah, that line of logic is so good there. And it's just like, no, you can't just no. As for evidence, there's the Jamming Ninja's button. It was ripped off with the ninja costume and was found in Mr. Unguard's karma. Okay, I've got nothing issuing, like, there's not, like, both of these statements, as for evidence, there's Jamming Ninja's button and this one, it's like, I've got nothing at the moment. It's like, yeah? That makes sense? The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. Okay. The defendant bought the knife for the crime. This makes it premeditated murder. Let's go with a press on that. There's no way this was a premeditated murder, even if he bought the knife. Sorry, pal. This is some pocket knife. It doesn't fold, so it's not great for walking around with either. Well, this is not good. The prosecution can prove it was a premeditated murder. We're done for. Phoenix. Yes? Something very interesting about what the detective said just now. Think carefully before it's too late. A button covered in the victim's blood, and a knife with Unguard's fingerprints. Be grateful. The judge were more rash, but already pounded his gavel in closing. Still in a world of trouble. Now before any battle, you must find your enemy's weakness. Let's find the weakness in this testimony, so... no matter how small it may be, okay, Phoenix? Mankind and one creator were huge rivals with each other. And each saw the other guy was in his way. That's motive enough in my book. I tried to, like, press on that and that didn't result in anything. As for evidence, there's the Jamming Ninja's button. It was ripped off the ninja costume and was found in Mr. Unguard's karma. The defendant's fingerprints were also all over the knife. The defendant bought the knife for the crime, which makes this a premeditated murder. That might be why. It says Gatewater on it, because it's like, well, they didn't like bring the knife for the crime. It was just there, because it's the hotel's knife. So...
Objection!
Wait a second. What? So the basis of your argument that this was a premeditated murder is simply that my client bought a knife beforehand? That's right, Mal. The defendant did not buy this knife. Huh? Take a good look at the handle of this knife and you'll see what I'm talking about. Huh? It has Gatewater seal set into the handle. Gatewater? I think I've heard that name somewhere before. It's the name of the bloody hotel where the murder happened. I'm sure I see why you got fired. That's the name of the hotel. The Gatewater Hotel. Uh-oh. The murder knife was actually property of the hotel. Which means this murder was not premeditated. Yeah, he didn't bring a knife with him. It just didn't. Oh, very skeptical, yes. Yes, that is very true. This is a very big... What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? I'm sorry, but the defense is simply too careless. What? Well, I think whether the crime was premeditated or not has already been determined. How so? I admit this knife is hotel property. There is no one currently on the police force that is dumb enough not to realize this. But I didn't know... Oh, gumshoe. The question is, where did this knife come from? Why is that obvious? It came from the victim, Mr. Kurita's room. Sorry, Your Honor, but that is incorrect. I knew that, but... The victim ate a last meal before he was murdered. With that being the case, I would like to draw the court's attention to what is on top of the table. Yeah. There's a knife and a fork on the table. then? Where in the world does this knife come from? If it pleases the court, I would like for us to recall the room of the defendant, Mr. Matt on guard. Yep, there you go. Especially what was on top of this table. There is something missing. Perhaps it is a single knife? We investigated the leftover dishes for fingerprints. While we were investigating, we came to the conclusion that Mr. Matt Unguard's knife was missing. Ugh. Mr. Unguard had gone to the victim's room with the knife he had used during dinner. Why would he carry a knife on a visit? To kill, of course. And with that, I believe the prosecution has proven this was premeditated murder. Oh, it makes sense to me. Amazing, Mr. Edgeworth. Absolutely brilliant. A brilliantly clear deduction. Seems like Edgeworth had this plan from the very beginning. This must be one of those traps. I just walked headlong into it. A murder weapon with fingerprints, and a button from the victim's costume. There is quite a sizable amount of evidence here. I can safely say that any further deliberation is a waste of time, Your Honor. Although, I wouldn't mind if the defense were to present evidence not yet shown to the court. Evidence not yet shown? He means evidence that the court hasn't seen yet. In other words, new evidence. What does the defense have to say about this, Mr. Wright? Well, Phoenix, the judge is favoring the prosecution right now. If we answer with something wrong here, that gavel of his will be ringing out to the sound of our defeat. Mr. Wright, do you have something important and necessary to present to this court? Okay, so what's been presented? Let's look at the crime photo. Okay, so everything there is going to be relevant in some way. And what do I have? It's like, I say that because it's like, I figured that out then. It's the wine glass, right? Because it's like, that's already been presented. Like, yeah, the case has already been presented. These things have already been presented. This hasn't even been talked about yet. So, actually, I do. There's one piece of evidence that catches my attention. Something that this court has yet to see. Mr. Wright, I will say this one more time. I do not feel this trial needs to continue at all. However, I am giving you one chance, and one only. What the judge is saying, right, is don't try pulling one of your usual bluffs here. If I mess this up, it's curtains for all of us. Oh god. You may now present one and only one piece of evidence. Now then, what is this important evidence that you must show to the court? It's Yuan's autopsy. It's gotta be the wine glass. This is a wine glass, is it not? Please look at the photo of the crime scene one more time. The scene is a mess because of the victim's struggle against his assailant. The vase was broken. His makeup is all over the floor. These were all the things that were at one point sitting on top of the dresser. Well, yes, I see your point. However, this glass that is sitting on top of the dresser is mysteriously untouched. The only thing that had not fallen over along with everything else is this wine glass. This piece of evidence is more than strange enough to warrant further consideration. Well, what do you all have to say? Well, yes, it is a little peculiar. Yes, isn't it? I thought it was. You stop looking at me with those puppy dog eyes of yours. Mr. Edgeworth? What is it, Your Honor? Your opinion. You don't need my opinion. Because there is no special meaning to that glass. What? It's safe to say that the glass was set there after the crime took place. And by the person who discovered the body. Adrian Andrews, for example. She could have easily been so shocked that she set the glass down without thinking. That does sound very plausible, Mr. Wright. Could Miss Andrews really have set that glass down without thinking? There's no way! If I appear weak here, the trial is over. Yeah. I can look for my proof later. For now, I should trust my instincts and point with certainty. I just might fall for it, if you're thought-provoking enough. The defense would like to challenge the prosecution's theory. We would like to see something that proves it was Miss Andrews who set the cup on the table. It's a glass, mate. You've turned the situation on its head yet again, as usual. Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any proof to back up your claim? There's no way he has any. He's just bluffing. Unlike Mr. Wright, I never say anything unless I have the evidence to support it. What? You're not thinking hard enough today, right? Did you think this wine glass escaped my notice? Then... Of course it has been thoroughly inspected for fingerprints. Fingerprints? There were only one set of fingerprints left on this wine glass. Only one? Well, whose were they? They were not the victims nor the defendants. Rather, they were of one Adrian Andrews. What? Oh dear, wine glass updated in the court record. That is why I said that the person who had discovered the body had left it there. Are we done here, Mr. Wright? I can't believe I fell into another trap. Miss Andrews was probably holding the glass when she went to see Mr. Corrida. But upon seeing his dead body, she was stunned and set the glass down on the dresser. What you just said makes a lot of sense. Now do you see, right? Yeah, but she was also having a meal with, on guard just before this, so... How do you explain that? Can't change any part of my scenario as it explains everything all too well. No, it doesn't. No. I thought long and hard this past year about what it means to be a prosecutor. And from here on out, I will show you the answer I have come to discover. Wait a second, Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has proved enough evidence for me to enter my verdict. Unfortunately, I cannot allow you to pass judgment yet. The prosecution is yet another witness who would like the court to hear from. You're gonna win! Like, why? Another witness? Yes. Bailiff, please bring in the next witness. What in the world is Mr. Edgeworth thinking? Yes, what is he thinking? He's up to something. Oh, God. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Gotcha. I wonder what happened to that calm composure he had earlier. Oh, Edgy boy, it's been what, a year since we last met, hasn't it? You should be more happy to see me. I saw the report with her testimony, but who knew that under that helmet it was the wicked witch of the witness stand? I tell you, this time, I know what I'm supposed to do. So today, I'm going to tell you anything and everything. Even things that don't have to do with the terrible crime. Miss Witness, that terrible crime is all the court needs to know. Oh, shush! I'm talking to my dear Edgy Wedgy right now. Don't interrupt us, Gramps. Yes, madam. No, please, by all means interrupt her, please. Anyway, witness your testimony, please. It's true what they say, that you are hot-headed nowadays. Not that I mind at all, Edgy. Now then, what should I start with? The witness was on security detail at the hotel of the night of the murder. Is this correct, Miss Oldback? It was a great job being able to see my dearie Yuan. It was almost too much for my little heart to handle. You mean you were a fan of the victim? Look, everyone is crazy over that on guard, saying he's cute in a fresh way or something. But not me. I wouldn't say anything so silly. After all, I have no interest in a little child like him. I'm interested in a real man, Yuan Kurita. But those two were the same age. Anyway, as I was saying, I was pacing in front of his room that night. Very well. Please tell the court what you witnessed the night of the murder. Leave it to me, Edgy-Poo. Oh dear. What you witnessed. Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. Okay. There was something I was interested in finding out. You know, what were you interested in finding out? That's what I want to know. Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. Okay. That's when someone showed up. There was a man coming out of poor Yuan's room. What did they look like? He was on guard, Matt on guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Yuan's room. So I think like for me, it's going to be that idea of like, we need to know what he actually looked like. We need the details, like, was he dressed normally? Was he in a costume? Because if he was in a costume, it could have easily been someone else. So Mr. Ungard came out from the victim's room. See? Has to be him. He's the murderer. Triple dot. I see. Well, Mr. Wright, you may begin your cross-examination. May I? What you witnessed? Anyway, after the ceremony, I went to pace around in the hallway in front of his room. Okay. There was something I was interested in finding out, you know. That's what I want to know! Something you were interested in, and just what was it? It's not some little thing I can just go around telling everyone, you know? It's top secret between me and Yuan. Ah, and Edgy-Poo, of course. Mr. Edgeworth, what is this thing she was interested in? I have no idea. I despise gossip, Your Honor. Gossip? But should it prove relevant, we can always have it append to her testimony later. Looks like we shouldn't force it right now. Did the witness stay in the vicinity of the victim's door the entire time? Well, since I was on the job, I made sure to keep a good eye out the whole time. That's when someone showed up. It was a man coming out of poor Yuan's room. What did they look like? Who in the world was that? I'm not allowed to say. This sort of information has to be carefully guarded from the masses, Sonny. The man that came out from Yuan's room. Yes? He was... I'm too scared. I can't say his name out loud. Oh, what I wouldn't give to have Franziska's whip right about now. Well, I guess I can tell you since he was such a bad boy anyway. Oh, so it's just leading into that. It was on guard. Matt on guard. He was trying to sneak his way out of Yuan's room. You say my client. Are you sure about that? Yes, it. Really? Annoying brat. When I say I saw someone, I saw that person. Why do I get a sense of deja vu? Yeah. Maybe to avoid a repeat of last year, I should delve into this a bit further. Person's clothes! Please tell the court about the man's clothes in more detail. What a troublesome man you are. Really, as if something like that matters. But it does. Now what was it? Oh, yes! It was that thing. What thing? The gaudy thing he's always wearing, that racing jacket. Oh. He was wearing that at the detention center, too. That thing's meant for nothing but seducing women out of their pantaloons. Men. Right. So, Mr. Wright, was this testimony just now important or relevant in any way? It was very important? Of course, it was important, Your Honor. Then perhaps you would like to point out what part of that testimony was important. The only thing I think of is like, okay, so we know this was caught in his Hakama, which I don't know if we can get a picture of his room at this point, but on guard's room, that was on the chair, was it not? On like the sofa-y thingy he had. So if he did go into Jamin's room, kill him, and that was attached somewhere, it wouldn't be attached to the Hakama. It'd be attached to his jacket, so maybe that's where they're going with it? That's all I can think. Don't you see it, Edgeworth? Your Honor, I request what the witness said about the jacket be appended to her testimony. I don't quite see where you're going with this, but alright, witness, please. Well, I don't like to badmouth anyone without reason, but if I must. He was wearing his flashy racing jacket. Honestly, it's all just for show. Okay, so let's try. Objection! Miss Oldbag. What? Don't say my name for no reason. Do you know what this is? It's button number 2 of the Jamming Ninja's costume. Now I know she's an obsessed fan. She identified it in a single glance. Give it here, give it here. If you don't give it to me, I'll punish you with this. Wow, she really is a die-hard fan to want a button covered in blood. This button was discovered on Mr. Unguard's body during a full-body search. See? See? This button proves beyond a shadow of a doubt it was that rascal Ungard. It was caught up in the pleats of his nickel samurai Hakama pants. See? See? And Ungard is the nickel samurai. Witness. Now, it may just be me, and I do have an active imagination, but just now, didn't you say that the defendant, Matt Ungard, was wearing his usual racing jacket? I'm so sorry. Sorry that you judge people based on what they wear. If I wore the oh, here we go. Tape recorder. Documentary on curling. Now hold your tongue still there for 1 second. So what you saw in actuality was not Mr. Ungard the man, but Mr. Ungard the nickel samurai? When you think about it, they're really one and the same anyway. Miss Oldbag, this is a very important point we're talking about. Etchy Poo, do you think so too? Well, it might be something worth considering. Just say it's important and agree with me for a change. Witness, think carefully and try to remember as much as you can before you testify. Alright, if you insist. I should be the one sighing, not you. Who I saw. Alright, so I'm going to use this as an opportunity to end this part here. And in the next part we'll see about who she potentially saw. So we'll see you in the next part. Ta-ta for now.